Hello everyone and welcome back to my studio. I have been away for a while on my channel, so I'm trying to get back into routine and see if I can post a few more videos on flowers and maybe landscapes. So today I'm painting white roses in a vase, and I pre-drafted, kind of sketched the vase and the roses. It's like a contour drawing silhouette, and then I will be modifying it as I paint. Like, I prefer paint, not to draw, so I draw as I paint, because these drawings will be modified as I paint. So I'll get into it, and I will tell you what paints I'm going to use. So it's titanium white. I have a cadmium yellow light and cadmium yellow deep, and also cadmium, I think it's lemon yellow on my palette. I also have yellow ochre, cadmium red light. I may need it for some warmth in some areas, and I have alizarin, terra rosa, viridian, ultramarine blue, and cobalt blue. I have burnt sienna, I think it's burnt sienna, yeah, and transparent brown oxide, no, it's just transparent brown. And I also have burnt sienna and burnt umber, because I was trying to compare different browns earlier, so I pre-mixed even some mixtures to make it a little faster. So I'll see how it goes. It might be again just not one part, so I'm not showing my palette yet. I may show it in the end, so I'm working on it. I may do next time palette. So I will start with the first, I think I will start with the roses, so I could while my mind and my eye is fresh. So I pre-mixed some light colors based on white with mixtures of green, yellow, because these are white roses but they're not pure white, so I'll try to start with those. So I'm using bristle brush at this point, and I'm dissolving it, a dissolving paint with some paint thinner that I have. So it could be, so I'm trying to squint and start from the rose on the right. So this could be my first color. So if I squint, it's kind of greenish yellow shadow, especially if it goes further away from me. Like I said, it's very thin. I will be painting over it, and this is just a kind of roughing in some main shapes. Trying to look at big shapes, trying not to confuse myself with details and things. Trying to put the base color at least. By base color I mean like a mid-tone. Don't go very deep in lights and very deep in darks. Okay, this will work for this rose, and I go to the other rose. Again, it's a little darker in this area on the back, but I don't want too much contrast at the back, because these are rose at the back. It should go away from me, not to me, so I'm not too bothered to put too much information for that rose. It will work for now. Actually, I have rose at the back as well, the white over there, but it's kind of hidden by the leaves and the other rose, so I'm not going to put it right now. So this could be my main rose focus, because it's turned to the light. And I actually did some reorganization in my studio, trying to move away some of the first of all, move away still life from me, not to be too close, and also I did some other innovation. not renovation, but kind of moving decoration. So I see some coolness because obviously it's turned to the sky more, but I see some warm shadows here and kind of even yellow reflection in it. More warmth here. So these are all colors I'm using from mixtures of yellow, green, yellow cadmium, yellow deep, viridian, and brown. So I'm going to kind of focus a little here. I may not talk until I do this rose correctly, so I'll just try to squint and don't want to go too cold either. Even though I see cold shades, I don't want to go too cold with it, because then, like I heard from some artists who are very experienced with flowers, your flower will look dead. I think actually it was Richard Schmidt and Daniel Keyes was saying this in one of his workshops. So I'm trying not to make my flowers dead. I'd rather make it a little warmer. Even this, it may seem too much warmth, but it's easier to go from warm to cold. It's the same as dark to light. Light to dark, sorry. It's when you focus, you're kind of losing track of your thought. So I like this gray. I prepared some grays for background as well. I think I'm because I have this gray background, so I'm putting background color now in almost like every rose I see. Just a little touch of gray. Again, using too much white at this stage, not good idea, because you may go in over whiting it and then not to get back to your original shape. So I always make that mistake sometimes, not always but often, I would say. So I think I'll leave my white roses for now. I'll go to my dark rose. So I'm mixing some alizarin, some ultramarine and some brown. Go to my darkest area here. Yeah, it's very dark, but I'll paint over it, so it will be a little lighter. Then adding some cadmium red light, and that's not a very strong paint. It's one of my old paints that not good brand, so it's not very strong, but I think for mixing it should work. Only trying to kind of there will be green there, so I think it's a cooler, kind of cooler red there, so I'm not going to make it very warm. It's warm in the shade though, so I'll keep it warm in the shade. And by warmer and cooler, I mean if it's red, that red has more yellow in it, and cooler one has more blue in it. If you talk about color red, if you talk about different color, it will be different. So I think I may do greens, a little bit of greens. So again, I'm going dark to mid-tone. Don't have many light greens there anyway. So there will be some leaf going this way. There's some warmer greens over there that again are just indicating, like this one is going to be very light, and I'll do them later because I still need to do my background. There's no point spending time on leaves. And I will be carving around the background as I always do. So I think before I go to background, I'm going to do my vase. It's almost like kind of dark brown. Somewhere it's even black color. Actually, just because so I'm putting mid-tone at this point. Then I'll go around it and over it, sorry. I go over that mid-tone, and again, vase will have some background in it, and it's also highly reflective, but this is just a base tone. This is the highest area of the shape. So I think it looks too black to me. It's a new vase I bought. I wanted a dark vase for a while that would have good area for reflection, putting highlight, so finally got it. So my shape might not be 100% right, and that's fine. You can always verify drawing later. It's always back and forth work. And I think I put too much paint on it. So now I'm going to make it a little lighter in the areas where it's lighter. And I think I'm going to use cobalt and some gray, kind of with some grays. I don't want to put too many highlights in it either. So it's not a good idea. So this one, light falls over it a little. And this is again, this is bristle brush, so I probably will swap it for some other brush, because I don't want to use bristle brush for this. This is just, I use bristle brush only for underpainting, and then I go to the softer brushes like Rosemary Brushes with very thin. So I kind of indicated this. I'll go back. So I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush, trying to reach it. I'll do my background. It will be again this is a kind of bristle brush, just very simple cheap brush. And actually I think before I do background I may do my roses on the table. That would be very similar color to the ones I did, so kind of a little bit of background color falling on them, especially on the second rose, and then a little bit of warmer yellow here. I can hardly see the rose under there, so there's a rose a little bit here. So just indication of what I see, the bigger shapes. We'll go back to it once I'm done with the other things. And because I'm using a thinner paint, even though I have some white in it, it's okay. I can paint over it easy with the softer brushes. So now I'm going to do my background, and I have some rose petals left over there that I'll do later. So I pre-mixed some color. I'm going to go thinner, and I'm looking, so my warm area will be on the right, on the left from the window it will be cooler area, so I'll have more blue in it. Too much blue. She spoiled my gray. Okay, let's try it. Yeah. So I can always add a little bit more kind of warm brown color to it, so it's really brown blue kind of gray. So I'm going around here, just see, I did a panel myself. It was a simple MDF panel, and I primed it, not primed, this one wasn't primed, this I glue with Raphael Miracle Mark. I don't know if you heard about that glue. So it's a kind of archival glue that you can buy linen and rolls, and you can glue it to your panel. So try not to get distracted. I will probably tell if you show interest in that. I will talk about this more, but for now I need to just focus on my contour shapes for the roses and the vase. So it's a little bit warmer there and a little bit darker there. So I'm trying to add more of my paint thinner, so I could paint, my paint would glide around it and I don't struggle with it, and at the same time it will be very thin. So someone told me or asked me to show how I thin the paint, if I got that comment right. So I'm going to show later after I finish with this one. So I'm kind of mixing both cooler and warmer. So this rose a little bit dead, so I put it at the back. This rose is supposed to be a little higher, but never mind, I can leave it as it is for now, because I'd rather leave it at this height than it goes over the canvas. So this one close to the window I could clearly see very cool areas, and these ones have more brown warm in it. I'm also using my brown mixture here. My material is color kind of between blue, purple and gray, I would say, blue-gray, but it actually changes its properties once it's in the shadow. So, and then I'm going to squint and see where the darkest, so obviously there's a little bit darker area here that I can see, and I'm comparing it to roses. Like roses are very light in comparison with this, so that's why this material has to be a little darker even in here. And this background color will be reflecting back in the dark white roses, and that's why all roses will have a little bit of this color in them. Even shouldn't do this with this brush, I'm going to spoil it. It was a bad idea. So kind of do a little bit contour around this rose Again, there are dark and light areas in material. Some are lighter, some are darker. I think there is more light at the back. So as you can see, my vase already looks wrong shape. Have to correct it later. And then there is more dark here. So the main thing to get the contour of roses right. So they're kind of overlapping here, one rose with the other. You can see more bluish color here, even though I thought it's should be warmer here, but the light goes through behind the vase from the window, so it's kind of mix of both. Predominantly warmer colors to the right and cooler colors to the left, but it's kind of mix both. So that's how it looks now. There is a lighter area here, cooler. It's funny that I had lots of gray left from my painting of winter trees. There were all kinds of grays and blue grays, so it works well for my background now. I'm trying to save my background colors. So I'll leave this for now and do tabletop a little. So tabletop has more brown color. It's like a wooden box or wooden board, but because there is so much coolness falling from the window and from that material, so I'm doing my kind of cast shadow here. I'll do some cast shadows, a little dark for the roses, can always go lighter later, but I just don't want to lose these cast shadows right now. Probably will use this brush for my tabletop. So like I said, it's light brown, but it has lots of coolness in it due to cooler light from the window and cooler light from my material fabric that I have. And also there are some rose petals here. Also I need to do cast shadows for those, make sure they're not floating, even they're not quite blue, but this can be corrected. Wrong color. That was very wrong color. So didn't expect to paint white roses in winter, but the same as last year, I had a very nice Christmas bouquet with red and white roses. Happy about that. Okay, so I'll do those later. Just hope this video will not be very long, so there is this coolness on the tabletop, and also tabletop is more, gets more light because it's a horizontal plane, so I'll go, even though it's cool, but it's light. So I did a little bit of yellow, ochre and white, and just mixing into this. So I hope I did all my values and colors right at this point. So it's already 25 minutes past the video. I may continue, do a little bit of roses. So I need to clean my hands and double check some values and some colors before I proceed. So now I'm going to use softer brushes, which are very good for laying paint on top of what I already have. So I'm going to grab some of these brushes and show them as well. So I have so these are Rosemary brushes that I'm using. As you can see, they're already, sorry, I'm trying to show them to the camera. So these are brushes, they're kind of fluffy on the ends, but they still keep shape. And then there is this one that absolutely doesn't keep shape, but I use it for certain things. And it's not Rosemary, this is just Tabletop cheap synthetic brush, but it's kind of imitation of sable. So I'll start from bigger brush as always, because bigger brush allows to keep your shapes in check. And I probably will go to the main rose, because that's the most important rose and I don't want it to die before. Actually, that was the most reliable rose out of all. So, main thing, not to do too much of light and too many petals, because I know that for me it's always look only at the most important petals, and also try not to make it too muddy. That's another thing sometimes happens with, like, colors don't stay clean. I can do some of these as well, because I can see that one. So I was talking about mud. So I'm going to clean my brush often. The rose that further away, kind of more brown, well, more yellow, sorry, but it has some purple shapes in it. So I have to go a little bit with purple. When I say purple, it's not deep purple, it's very, very subtle color. I'm going to break these ones as well, because rose petals are transparent, so they kind of reflect all this surrounding areas. And there are little ridges in the roses, so you have to look for those, kind of to break down the shape with light. Break down light with dark with light, and other way around, and this way it can keep shape. So there is a little bit of warmth in this particular area, and that's where it curls further. And then there is another one, so I'm not doing many, but I have to do enough to kind of indicate the shape of rose. So I have to go a little deeper with darker color here. And on top it's even more dark. So I'm cleaning my brush just to make sure. I think I can go even more dark in this area, just a little darker. Not too dark, but then on the ridge, because there will be greens there. And this is kind of transparent light going through. And then I will go around with the green just to correct the shape. So at the bottom this rose picks a little bit of that gray color from the background as well. To add it a little more here. So I think, again, I'm not going to overwork this rose. I will leave it. I probably will come back to it again. I just want to kind of indicate the main shapes. One petal here, one petal here. Probably will add a little bit more light where it is at the top, because that's the lightest and most kind of brightest areas that looks I'll go to the next rose for now. That I already almost done, because this rose is the background. I don't see that much. I have to fix my brush. So at this point, when my brush started kind of losing shape a little, I use what's called walnut orchid paint medium. It's yellow, the background, and then there are petals. There are very old petals here, so kind of grayish brownish. I didn't want to put lots of dark petals and brown, so I had to peel some of them, but I have to follow what I see. So that's my background rose, I think, done for now as well. Maybe a little lighter here. Yeah. So while I'm with white, I'm going to do other rose. This one was, so that's the lightest bit, he goes here. That's the lightest one. And then there is some yellow, the other rose as well, at the back, but because I don't see it, I guess I'm going to leave it, just indication. So there is a little petal here, and there is more green and yellow in this area. Leaves reflecting, plus it's a cast shadow. So do this back, and there is more yellow green in this area. So again, I'm not going to do all the petals, I just do the one that most noticeable. So this one, I have to curve this back with background color a little. It's probably the brightest spot of this rose. I'm trying to squint because really in the dark this rose is more like a gray color even. Again, I'm covering with background color a little. So now I need to put a little bit more color in my back rose. Just going to put some highlight. And slightly cooler highlight, almost like pink. And I'm using the same color I did before. That rose started already changing and bending a little. So I'll just leave it as it is. So I think if I add a little bit of greens at this point, especially brighter greens, that would bring them a little to life. So first I need to go with the darker green. Then I'll do more brighter greens. So just looking at the shapes of this. still working with the same brush as long as I can. Actually, I moved it wrong direction because it was leaves are here. Do a little correction here. In the background, I'm not going to do huge contrast because it's receding, kind of moving away from us. So there were no very bright areas here, but I'll just add some. Sometimes it helps to bring it. And I'm going to work on the vase right now. So I'm using some grays and some blues because on this side I almost lost my vase at this point. So I have to bring it back to life. So the main thing I need to do is really to add some reflected lights and add some highlights, and that's about it, because the main shape is done. So I'm going to use some of the grays that I already have and just add a little bit of cobalt in it. And then I use some white and cobalt to enhance it more, especially like here I have a reflection of the window. So I'll put my main highlight in this area later. Right now I will work on the shape a little more. It's a highly reflective vase, but sometimes I noticed with even highly reflective, when you overwork it, it starts looking flat. So even with reflected light, I'm trying to be, reflected light is no way lighter than my actual light, so better underdo than overdo. So there are some interesting lights here, so probably will have to look at it again and see if I did it too much. So I have to break some of this back to where it was. And you have to go with the form. There is some interesting areas here, but I don't want to put too much paint, otherwise I'll not be able to work with it later. So I think the vase can be left alone too. do highlight with a smaller brush later in the areas where it's the most brightest, like these 3 spots, but I'm not going to mess with this right now, and I don't want to do this video too long, so I know that lots of people don't like watching long videos, but unfortunately the full painting process is like this. You have to take your time, enjoy it. So I'll do a little bit more on these roses, just the areas which lightest. I have to put some bit more here in the back rose will be more receding, kind of neutral beige color. I can see now there. This is the middle of the rose. Also have some nice petals here. Have lots of petals because I had to peel them. I'm going to just indicate them all in neutral color and then put the main highlight. So my main mixture is still the same. Really, I'm working with this variations of gray, yellow, brown colors, all in the same palette, all in the same range of colors as well. So whenever I see darker or lighter or cooler, I add those. So I'm just kind of indicating this. So I think I will add more viridian to some of those. Looks like viridian to me. And here, and a little bit more warmth on these ones. Definitely will have to work more on all of this, refine the shapes, do, so there is a stem here going, not enough medium, sometimes not enough medium produces this dry brush stroke. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. See, there's another, so because it's kind of in the background, I'm just going to do indication of it and leave it. So the same here. So we can see the Rakas shadows here, and that's all we need, really. Don't need to spend too much time and give too much attention to that. So I think I'll leave it as it is for now, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to refine some shapes. So I'm going to show some of the paints I did, some mixtures. Some of them are of course gone. They're almost gone. I have to pre-mix them again. If you want me to show you how I'm pre-mixing paints or what else I'm doing in terms of my technique, you can always leave me the comment and let me know what you want to see. So I'm going to show how I'm thinning the paint. So I'm taking my phone here. So thinning paint is really simple. So this is my already dirty thinner. So this is a called Eco House. So I have this blue paper towels that I use. So kind of, if it's a thinner brush, normally it's a bristle brush, so I'll use probably bristle brush. So do this and take a little bit of paint, and that's how thin it is. So you can really easy then to glide it on the canvas, especially on linen canvas that I'm using. So that's about it. So, and these are the mixtures I use. So really I used like viridian and brown. Once you mix it, and then you can add yellow ochre, you can add cadmium yellow deep, and then you can add white, and it does all kinds of variations that I put on the rose. Like if you see, all of them are grays. Really gray green brown palette, but it makes bright roses. And now I'm going to show you quickly my setup. This is my roses that I'm painting today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And this is a bright winter day on which I paint these roses. So I'm going to show a little closer how it looks. So as you can see right now, it's very, very thin. I probably will not do another video for this rose because it's very clear that I'm almost done. It's just a matter of finishing off some details. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll pause the finished painting, and I hope to do more videos soon. Thank you and have a nice day.